Instead of waiting for someone to invite you into the private club, you make your own club and you invite everybody. And that's been my thing from day one doing Murray.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Rolling in for Natasha Del Toro this week. On this episode of Mike Dispatch, we explore the expanding world of inclusive comedy. First up is Talk Hole, a show on a mission to change the predominantly white and cis-male industry through its diverse lineups and subversive style. Correspondent Chantel Simpson got to hang out with the show's hilarious creators.
What would you say to people who think women and gay comedians are not funny? I'm here at Asia Roma waiting for Eric and Steven, the duo behind Talk Hole, a comedy show like no other.
Are straight men funny? That's my question. I'm not sure they are. I think that, I think there's something about being like what society has viewed as the neutral form for so long that's like really unfunny. That's just like kind of deeply, deeply boring.
Talk Hole is a comedy show that's gained notoriety within New York's alternative comedy scene. Why? Well, here comedians can literally let their hair down.
It's so fun to be in a basement. So one of my favorite things that's under other rooms. It's super, super awesome because you can't see the outside. So if you want to break from the air or the sun, come to a basement.
My former manager called me a hyphenate.
What does that mean?
It means I write, I sing, I act. I'm not really known for my dancing, but I can do it.
Can you show us a little bit of your moves?
Here's like a classic, just like a... And you'll notice that was like...
That was yours?
Yeah, that's one of my things. That was 720 degrees, I think.
Wow, I don't feel hot at all.
There's no green room besides like this kind of wet spot where we start the show. You'll see if there's a fly in there. So this is kind of where the magic happens.
We started in 2015. Here we are 3.5 years later, still in a basement.
Same spot.
Yep. Haven't really evolved.
But what has evolved is the community of dedicated fans that flock to Talk Hole's shows. They come for the atmosphere, but stay to laugh out loud at the comics handpicked by the duo.
How would you describe the demographic of performers that you have on stage?
Women.
Women.
Women of color.
Women of color.
Queer people.
Queer people of color. Men.
Gay men.
Cis gay men.
Cis gay men.
Cis white gay men, that's us.
I'm just gonna take a swing at political you guys, because there's just like no other choice at this point. Like, I can't just like sit up here and start talking about the normal stuff that I talk about, like, like getting or whatever. But I'll try to work at it.
Why don't you book straight white guys?
We don't.
They're not allowed. We want people to know they're coming to a space where like they're not going to hear jokes that have traditionally usually are said by straight men that diminish like women or minorities, because that was obviously comedy like many years ago.
And comedy still today. I mean, there's so much straight guys out there. They don't need more venues. There's like, their voice has been heard and it's being heard, and no matter what we do, it's going to be heard. So like, there's no need for us to elevate those voices.
The problem with Kanye is that I'm so mad about what he said the other day. And I wrote that joke months ago.
In addition to hosting their non-traditional comedy show, Eric and Steven dabble in creating videos that make fun of creatives and millennial consumer culture.
If there's no urgency, what do you have? I do cave paintings. Just like, make like the work that I have here, you're not gonna see on the walls because this isn't a cave.
That art fair video specifically comes from our experiences, like as kind of outsider insiders in the art world, more outsider. We want to do things that feel very close to home, that almost like where you're kind of wondering, is this real or is this fake? Is this a hoax?
I'm like really depressed.
Wait, what if we open a store?
I love that.
You know, in this day and age, especially in the creative economy, like so many people's jobs is just sitting around trying to think of ideas. We are self-satirizing as much as we're satirizing everyone else who has to do that for a living.
Each talk hole show is generally centered around a theme.
We try to create a campaign around it and satirize maybe some contemporary branding or what, you know, corporate America is doing around that idea. So this month it's shame, but like...
What does that mean?
Well, we saw these ads and we were like, shame is being sold to us. And we were also seeing pride sold to us, and we were just like, well, what's the flip side of pride? It's shame.
But I think it's also more broadly relatable, not just to gay people, but to anyone, because, you know, we're all walking around with huge bags of shame.
And we are selling totes that say no bottoms. This is a limited edition tote that has no bottom. It's $25, it's an edition of 10.
Where's that bowl? Oh, there's the bowl.
We had a contest. We asked you what you were ashamed of.
Being an American in 2018. You know, it's not really a joke, it's like, that's true. We're all ashamed of that. That I live with my parents. Which, I mean, if you're living with your parents in this neighborhood, that's not really something to be ashamed of, I don't think. Like, I don't, I mean,
oh my God.
Wow,
So
this truly walls inside of walls. Look at these boxes.
So why is Talk Hole such a special comedy
The
night?
lineup is diverse. When you have performers that have different backgrounds and different points of view, it makes for a richer comedy and a richer performance and better storytelling.
I came back to New York a month later, recharged, and decided to try my luck as a waiter in the restaurant biz. I landed a job through Craigslist at a rustic chic new American joint in Brooklyn, where they made us wear chambray shirts and say things like, sure, the chopped kale salad is available as a lunch or dinner item. I thought to myself, wow, I'm really living.
What do you want Talk Hole's legacy to be?
Wow, so we're dead.
Legacy, obituary.
Cool. You know, it was the Patti Smith of its day. You know, people were shooting up in the bathroom. You know, there were punks, there were artists, there were people, you know, there were, you know, rabble-rousers and anarchists, and they all came together to laugh as the world was burning. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking how this couple met at Talk Hole, and I love that. Like, I just want people to have these like stories of like in their youth back in the day. Like, I mean, I think this is just the beginning. I mean, I want to put, you know, a justice on the Supreme Court eventually.
There we go. Yeah, no, I want a Talk Hole in the White House. I think would be huge. I'd love to have our own sort of
branch of government.
Yeah, or island or something. You know, so want to annex something, but in a nice way.
So that's
And in our next story, we meet comedian and drag king Murray Hill, who's been pushing comedic boundaries since the 90s. Hill recently caught the mainstream media's attention after Scarlett Johansson dropped out of the upcoming film Rub and Tug due to backlash surrounding Johansson, a cis woman, being cast to play a transgender man. Hill's name was circulated as a possible replacement. JD Samson explores the struggles drag kings like Hill face in the entertainment industry.
I know how hard it can be to make it in the entertainment industry as a genderqueer woman. I've been thinking a lot about drag kings and how they make a lot less money than drag queens. They also struggle with inclusivity and visibility within the drag community. Is it simply because we want to see the glitter in fancy outfits? Or is it part of a wider issue of existing within a patriarchal society? I'm on my way to meet up with Mr. Murray Hill, comedian and veteran of the drag king community, who, in his words, has been the next big thing for the past 20 years.
Over 20 years, I've been out on the streets looking like this. I'm not reading books, you know, writing a thesis at Oberlin College. I've been discussing like gender issues, politics out there, which is part of, you know, feminist performance art. You live it, you embody it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a semi-famous comedian that none of you have ever heard of before. Murray Hill, let's hear it, come on.
Murray performs as an old-timey, middle-aged showman, mixing stand-up and silly song and dance routines to unsettle audience members.
Again, the language was very different back then. There wasn't any. But, you know, I'm like, where's the lesbians? Where's the butches? Is there an opposite of drag queen? Like, there was nothing. This is like 90, maybe 95. It's like, all right, so every single person is taking pictures of drag queens. I wanted to be like, well, what's on the other side of this?
Oh my God, they have Pride at Levi's?
I think that was 1994. I ran for mayor against Giuliani, who's now even more crazy.
Oh, I remember that so well.
Because that's when, Giuliani was enforcing those cabaret laws that just were overturned like last year.
I know.
My platform was let the kids dance.
Yeah.
Because dancing was illegal in clubs.
Totally.
And mostly targeted the gay clubs, of course.
If you're under 30, this is tap dancing.
I've always felt there was a ceiling for me in everything, in my whole life. There's 8 glass ceilings, and then there's another glass ceiling that's called RuPaul's Drag Race.
Hey guys, we're rehearsing the band. What the hell are you doing? Come on, I'm not kidding around here.
In my own career, people have said to me, I thought that the world was ready for you, but they weren't.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna happen. Has anyone said that to you, or do you feel like that ever?
I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for someone to invite you into the private club, you make your own club and you invite everybody. And that's been my thing from day one doing Murray.
Murray's unwavering optimism, however, seemed to conceal more complex feelings about what it means to be on the outside looking into a male-dominated industry.
It's complicated to see how much drag queens are making and all the outlets they have in which to make money.
So I don't necessarily always think it's an individual issue. I think it's like a larger societal issue, and then it's much more complicated. You get down to money, who makes more money, who's spending money at clubs, who's going out and buying more drinks, who's going out and having the apps. Lesbians can't sustain their positions from a monetary point of view.
Due to many factors, such as gentrification and the mainstreaming of queer culture, lesbian bars have become few and far between in New York and all over the world.
Every lesbian bar has closed. You can't really blame that on RuPaul.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
So this is showbiz, guys. This is it right here. Showbiz. It's the worst lighting you can possibly imagine. When you're working under 8 glass ceilings, you got to always work a lot harder. Just not even break it or any of that crap. You just.
And do you have anger about that? Like, do you get frustrated? Do you feel?
I definitely get frustrated, sure.
Anthony, I'm reading your mind. He's thinking, is it a man or a woman? Is it a man or a woman? Anthony, the answer is no.
Like the drag queens, it's funny. It's bright colors, it's excitement, and femininity is so blown out everywhere. In fashion magazines, in movies. When you're impersonating a guy, it's like, who gives?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Why is this gay guy by himself? I've never seen that in history before. Oh, look at that. Holy. Who's the top and who's the bottom? Oh, this one goes bottom.
How do you feel like Murray contributes to the identity politics conversation of now?
There's been so much fighting for equality and a lot of suffering. And that's also that we could get to a place of choice and freedom. It's not to a place where you enter like a queer coin slot where it's like, okay, nickels go here, dimes go here, figures go, it's all separate. Drag king is too specific. That's like when they say black female comedian. It's like, well, they don't say that for the guys.
just like I met you 20 years ago.
For me, the evolution of it is just be like everybody else. Not that I'm like this underground, scary, drag king, whoa. It's just, nah, Murray Hill. You know, your Jewish uncle.
I can't wait anymore. I've been the next big thing for the last 20 years. But I think it's close. I think everybody else is ready.
Your haircut looks good.
Almost. Showbiz.
I think we're ready. Well, that's it for tonight's show. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.